Hey guys, just a quick tutorial for you who've been struggling to knit your PDF or HTML in R for the report. Firstly, please make sure you followed all the instructions that have been written here in between the chunks, because if you haven't followed them correctly or you missed out on some line, there's definitely going to be some errors. Now, under the assumption that's there, let's make sure we have certain things in place. Firstly, make sure your working directory is set to your source file location. Otherwise, in your path name, for example, in this line or in later lines, you might have issues. If you notice our default lab file given by a lecturer, Iris is right there, right? You need to make sure your path names are correct. Now, coming down further, if you all must have noticed when we read our file df, the species is of type character. So we need to change that to factor, right? So we do that with this line over here. So just hit play, choose Iris, boom. Now it's a factor, right? Now let's go down to the box plot. So now if we run the box plot, what you'll notice is, you see how this graph is being overrun by ID. The lecture touched upon this as well, because we remove ID only later on, right? So what we should do, what I would advise all of you to do it, is to do this above here by inserting a chunk, because when you knit a file in R, unlike preview, which ma'am has explained upstairs, it runs all the code again. So what will happen is, this is how we want it to be, right? So now if we run the box plot again, you see now we get the right output that we're looking for. If this command is still below, when you knit your PDF, you'll still get the wrong one with, the ID big over here and the rest of them all small. So make sure you do that. And now the other issue as well, similar to this, is, so if you notice, as we go lower in the miss commands, we change our column names all to lowercase. So if you notice sepal, length, centimeter, the S is capital, L is capital, C is capital. We do convert, these will be converted to lowercase, right? But if you notice the code over here that follows it, the S is still capital, L is still capital, C is still capital. So if we run this, you see all of them become small in DS, right? They all become small, but we are still trying to use DS over here, and these are capital. So make sure you change these to small letters, right? And now if we run this, uh, yep, okay, this. Now if we run this, we get the correct output, right? Make sure your spelling is correct and don't make a mistake like me, all right? And now, yeah, this is, and here as well, like ds dollar species, you see species is small, right? So this needs to be small s, this needs to be small s, otherwise you'll get errors. But yeah, that's all things you need to make sure are right. Now the other issues that could possibly be are, sometimes you might get this error for the package called tiny text. It will tell you to install the package because it's unable to knit to a PDF. So in case that happens, just search for packages tiny text, tick mark, boom, you have tiny text. If you're on Mac, you might have issues with xquads.com, which I've referred to already in the chat. So you just download that package. If you get the error, just search for xquads.com and that should solve it. And the other things, as I said, just make sure your paths are correct for everything. And also, this is an error that I experienced before, where if this file name has spaces or the hyphen in between, this can cause an error. But in my later attempts, I haven't found that to be an error. But you can still, it's you don't go wrong in making sure that there are no spaces and hyphens. But for this case, as I'm not experienced the error, I'm going to leave the file name as it is. So now, if I try to knit to PDF, I choose data 2 for the first one, choose Iris for the second one. The code runs. It should produce our report now. We get the report. And if you go back, boom, here we have it. The PDF is complete and it has all the comments and everything, right? This is our output. Same thing for HTML, knit, HTML. We do the same thing, choose data 2, choose iris, 87%. It'll open our report, and once it's finished doing that, our HTML file will load up, and this is what an HTML file looks like. Same thing. We have our graphs, we have our text, and that's how you make your report, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. And yeah, thank you.